Adding long hair to your sculptures. How do we do that? Let's find out. Hi, it's Pam from Ben McFuzzyLugs. Thanks for coming back. I make needle felting tutorials every Thursday, so if you want more like this, please don't forget to subscribe and come back every week. Thank you. So, before we get started with today's tutorial, I'd like to introduce you to another one of my fuzzies. And this is my little fox. Oh, too much light there. He's fully felted over a wire base, with his little brown legs fading into his orange coat and his rather handsome face and white ruff. So if you're interested in seeing how I made him and would like a more in-depth tutorial, then please comment fox on the comments below. Or if you would like any of my other animals that I've introduced in any of the other videos in the past few weeks, please comment the name of those animals. We've already met my dragon and my hares, and now we've met fox. So pick what you'd like to see. And now let's get on with the video. So today I'd like to show you how to add long hair in several different methods to any piece that you've made. Now before you start, always make sure that the body that the long hair is going to be added to is firmly felted, because this gives a better base for your fur to stick into it. It means that the fibres are all more densely packed, so that every stab of the needle takes your long hair through and into more fibres at the one time, so you actually need to felt less. So we're going to start with how I make my Highland cows. So this is just a really old body that I had lying around to show you. So this isn't how I make them anymore, but it's a good example to show how to just add the fleece. And this method is really simple. I just take a piece of fleece and cut it roughly to the length I want when it's on his body. And all I'm going to do here is fan out the fleece a little bit so it's long enough to cover him, pop it onto his body, and I am just going to felt a straight line down the middle. This gives him a kind of cute centre parting. So just straight down in a straight line, or as near as you can get, and we're going to felt down. Now because this is the only place that it's really attached, you want to make sure that you felt quite a lot into this line. And I also find if you felt sort of along the body, you're catching more fibres all in the one go, rather than just straight down and you only get like one at a time, because we're felting into a fairly well felted body. And if you make any mistakes, you can just lift it and reposition it before it's firmly felted in. Just felt all the way along, and as you can see, this is starting to give a little sort of centre parting, and then as the hair's quite short, it's sticking up a little bit, so we just pull it down slightly, and I want it to cover his bum, so I'm going to wrap it round a little tiny bit, and the bits at the top there, I'm going to felt them so that it just stays covering his bum a little bit more. And you can just gently put a couple of little stabs into his fur to kind of hold it in place where you want it, so it's not all sticking up in the air, but just a couple, because we're keeping it free flowing there. And then keep on for as long as you need until you feel you've got this in the straight line here really well felted. Another way, what we're going to use for the front of his head, is if you take a piece that's maybe about half as thick as what you're going to need finally, and we just spread it out again slightly and pop it where you want it. So you pop the midsection on where the end, well, where the top of it's going to be, and let the fringes hang down onto his head. And we're going to take a small amount of fleece in the same colour and just twist it into a kind of thread, and this is going to be like a staple to hold down what you've got here. So you just felt, again, it's just a nice straight line down the middle, but we're also taking in this roll that we just made, and we're felting, and this means you've got all the fibres from the top of the roll are going in, and it's stapling down your edges there. And then you flip the back piece over so it becomes, so it's all folded over and becomes the front again. And then you're just going to take the fold and felt into that. So this way is much more secure. It gives a nice kind of, it's double felted in place. So just spend a good few minutes doing that, and then same again to get his little face looking good. We're just going to fan out these fibres, and this gives him his adorable fringe. So methods for on a body of a dog, it's all fairly similar. So you just take a piece of fleece, and we're just gonna, I'll half that because that's too much. So just take a bit, kind of the length you want, and this is how I make fluffy tails for certain dogs. Oh, getting good scissors is a nightmare. So break a piece off, fan it out a little bit. Now with the small dogs, it's always better to put on less hair at a time, and that gives a more realistic look. So I'm just going to wrap it around the base of his tail, like so, so it's all the way around. Now be careful because you'll probably stab yourself. Just felting into the tail, just at the base, so that the ends are free, keeping it pinched in and felt in between my fingers. Until that's in place, and then we're going to do the same and add another piece, working down, and you can add the next piece as far up or as far down as you want, depending how much overlapping you want. Now I tend to go for, as you can see, the blunt edges when I've cut the fleece, but if you want a more sort of natural, not such a blunt edge, you can actually restack the fibres once you've cut them. So I'll just demonstrate that for you just now. So we've got a piece here that we've cut, it's got our flat edges, so if you just pull and stick on top, pull and stick on top, you're just messing up that outline and just making your pieces have a less blunt edge. Right, so another way to add fur to the dog or to any animal, and this is nice directional, so you can lay it across the way you want, and just, you have your half in like we did for the fringe. Now you could use the staple method and fold it over, or sometimes it's just easier just to all the free edge, just be working on felting that down and leaving the tail, and that means you've got more area that's felted into the piece, so it's more secure. And when you come to add your next row, as that's slightly back, you're overlapping, so while you're felting this in, you're felting in the layer behind. and this can give a nice effect. Again, the thicker, the larger amount of fibre you take at a time to pop on, then the denser this is going to be. Another method for more fluffy fur is to, again, cut a piece but around twice the size you want. So this is going to be very similar to what we did with the fringe for the cow. And you're just going to take a piece about half the thickness that you want. You can add a piece across if you want to make it extra secure, but it's not always necessary because this is going to be quite dense. So we felt a line straight across. I'm putting my needle in a really shallow angle to make sure that I hit the maximum number of fibres for every single stab, and then I'm going to fold this over, and again just felt, so it's a fraction of a millimetre down from the fold, so we're felting it in so it's nice and secure, and it's also, we're making the hairs go in the upward direction, in that direction. And then the same, get another piece, and we're going to pop this down just slightly further back and felt it in the straight line as before. Now I'm rushing these as ever. I would take a little bit more time if I was going to do this for a final piece. I'm just going to fold this back and felt the line again. And as you can see, this is making a much denser fur. I'll just do a few more bits. Okay, as you can see, this is quite a dense section, how I've felted it in like this, and it's more loose and fluffy where I've just laid the pieces flat. When you fold them over, it becomes more dense. This is also how I would make, say, a horse's mane. I don't have a horse just now, just this dog, but we'll pretend this is his neck, and you take a piece double the length you want, felt it down in a straight line, and then fold it over in the direction you want the mane to be, and felt just slightly in. And if you felt a bit longer, then you can make this line disappear altogether. But as you can see, that would make quite a nice mane. So for a wee bonus, I'm going to show you how to add hair on most types of terrier faces this works on. So you want a wee piece, you want to cut a wee bit of fleece, and we want blunt edges on this because at the end of the day most terriers are going to be groomed so their hair's cut. So we're going to pinch off a little bit, roll one end between your fingers so it's a little bit tighter, and just pop that at the side of the eye and felt the bit you rolled into place. And then take a second piece, second pinch, roll, and just pop the end just a little further along off of the top of the eye, and exactly as before, felt into place. Obviously take more time than I'm doing just now. A third pinch and roll and pop it further down round the eye again. So it's coming in between the eyes really, but off to the side closest to the eye you're working on. And then what you can do is just gently encourage these little bits to come round, and it makes nice little eyebrows and framing on the cheeks. And we'll do the exact same with the other bit. So it's a pinch, a roll, and a stab. Pinch, roll, put it slightly higher up so it's going across the top of the eyes, stab here, and make sure and keep the hair clear of the eyes. Pinch, roll, and pop it down between the eyes. Now in breeds that just have eyebrows, this might be enough, and if you want to do something like a miniature schnauzer, the eyebrows can be in a different colour and not go so far down the cheeks. Some dogs have a little more fluff on the top of their head, so again pinch, and we're just going to pop right in the centre here. Fan this out slightly and ever so slightly, felt it into place. And there we have some eyebrows. Again, make them stick out more or less just with gentle grooming and felting with your needle. And to make his moustache, again, take a piece about twice as long as you want it to be. Grab off a fairly thick section. And we're going to take this, find the midpoint, which is roughly about there, and pop this on his nose. And then just like we did with the Highland cow, the highland coo, we're just going to felt this down in a straight line, and then we're going to wrap it around slightly and just make sure it's nicely felted around about the end of his nose. Get it clear of his eyes. And this is looking a little crazy, so you can hairdress your dogs also. Just jump in with a pair of scissors, cut away and sculpt this into more whatever the breed you're looking for. And then your finished touch to hold it all in place, just a little roll, a little pinch of black, stick it on the very end, and suddenly what was not all that interesting is a cute little dog. And that took, what, 2 minutes? Okay, well, thank you for viewing. Please don't forget to vote for the critter you want to see me make a full length demonstration of. Please share and subscribe if you want to, and come back every Thursday for more of the same.